Hi, it's Gita. Welcome back to Answer the Question. This is Practical Civics, and we're currently in the middle of a video series about the Constitution. In the last videos, we focused on the Constitution's founding principles, including limits of power, federalism, and the separation of powers. In this video, we're going to dive into the first of those separately defined powers. We're going to talk about the legislative branch, otherwise known as Congress, as defined in Article 1 of the Constitution. Article 1 is the longest section of the Constitution, which tells you something. The founders of the United States intended for Congress, the legislative branch, to be the most powerful, and they dedicated most of their efforts into defining its structure and its limits. Congress is where the people, through their representatives, have a direct voice in government. Congress isn't one body. It has a bicameral structure, meaning that there are two separate chambers. There's the House of Representatives, and then there's the Senate. This two-part structure was a result of what's called the Great Compromise during the Constitutional Convention, and it's designed to balance the power between large states and small states. Let's start with the House of Representatives. Representation in this body is based on the population of states. States with more people living in them get more representation than states with fewer people living in them, with the total number of representatives currently capped at 435 voting members. Representatives serve short 2-year terms, and the reason for the short terms is because this body is designed to be representative to the immediate needs of the people. They're often referred to as the People's Chamber, and importantly, the House of Representatives is the only chamber that can initiate revenue bills, meaning any bill to raise taxes has to start there. Next, we have the Senate, which balances power across the states. There are 2 representatives in the Senate for every single state, regardless of the size of that state. Unlike representatives, senators serve 6-year terms. The reason senators serve 6-year terms is to insulate them from changes in public opinion in the short term, which allows them to focus on laws relating to broader long-term issues that aren't going to go away rather than focusing on immediate needs. The Senate also has a couple of unique powers. It's the Senate's job to ratify treaties with foreign nations, and it's also the Senate's job to confirm major presidential appointments, including nominees to the Supreme Court and to cabinet-level positions. So what does Congress actually do? Well, to make sure the federal government doesn't overstep and take the people's power, the Constitution clearly enumerates or makes a list of the specific powers that Congress has. And these specific powers can be found in Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution. Some of the main powers include taxation and spending, the power to lay and collect taxes and to pay the debts of the nation. Congress also has the power to regulate commerce. They regulate trade among the states and with other nations. This section of the Constitution is known as the Commerce Clause. When I'm talking about commerce, you may be thinking business, but the Commerce Clause of the Constitution has been used throughout history to justify vast federal regulations, including civil rights and environmental protections. Congress also has responsibility for national defense, which includes the power to declare war, to raise and support armies, and to provide a navy. One of the other major clauses giving Congress power is the Necessary and Proper Clause, sometimes called the Elastic Clause. This is arguably the most important and also the most debated power of the Congress. It allows Congress to make all laws which shall be deemed necessary and proper, that's where the name comes from, for carrying into execution all of its other powers that have been delegated to the Congress. It's called the Elastic Clause sometimes because it's this specific part of the Constitution, this language, which has been used to stretch Congress's power to adapt to modern needs that weren't even conceived in 1787. So that's who the Congress is, and that's what they are charged with doing. In the next video, we'll talk about how they do that, how a bill actually becomes a law, and what the checks and balances are on the legislature's powers.